Hello, I'm Cameron.
And I'm Cindy.
Welcome to Homeschool Roots. Interesting that this is something that happens quite a bit. And first of all, we would want to say that something like that happening, nothing happens in a bottle. It's not isolated. There's a history behind it. There's things that's up to it, and so those things need to be addressed. And we're not trying to act like we have quick fixes or anything like that. So we're just going to go over 10 things that we feel can help you if every day is a battle in homeschooling your child. But the reality is that you know your child, you know the history, and it's something that is going to take time because it didn't start right away where every day was a battle usually. So it's not like there's just boom, overnight it's going to be ready. So let's go ahead and get started with that. First thing is make sure you remember that you love each other and you have compassion.
Yeah, so important. I just really want to reach out to all the homeschooling parents out there. I know how it is to condemn yourself and you feel like your child is struggling and it must be your fault, or you get angry at them and you think they're trying to manipulate you, or they're bad kids, or that they are fighting against you. But it's so important to remember you're all on the same side, and this little person here, or this big person as they get older, is someone you love dearly and that God has put in your life and given you the opportunity to nurture and strengthen. And if you're a homeschooling parent, He has given you this opportunity to teach. And let's remember that what we learn at home is far more important than the just academics. We learn how to work through frustration. We learn how to love one another and speak kindly to one another. And so remember from the get-go that even if you're having a hard time right now, remember why you're in homeschooling. For the first place, you're nurturing your child. No one loves your child the way you do.
Amen.
And you are doing a great thing and a great job. Of course, we can always improve, and hopefully today's topic will help you where you are get through some of the hard places.
And we just want to convey that we definitely understand that it's not just the one time, fix all like that. It's easier said than done, and we definitely understand that. It's really important that you just kind of keep it in yourself. You be the strong one and make sure that we know why we're doing this, and that's because we want to create well-educated, well-rounded human beings.
Yes.
So, number 2, pay attention to trouble spots, time of day, subjects. What is going on like right before the meltdown? Okay, that's really going to help you to resolve the problem.
Mm-hmm. You may notice that between 11 and 12, your child starts to be fidgety, get bored, distracted. They might be hungry. Many of us grew up with 3 square meals a day and that's it. In our homeschool, we always had a snack time in the middle of the morning. It was always a healthy snack. It wasn't a lot, but it was just something to give them to go on, apple slices or bananas or something like that. Grapes, usually it was a fruit. Sometimes a cracker, peanut butter, nuts. Again, just something. If you notice a time of day that is particularly difficult, maybe they're tired, hungry, maybe it's just that time of day is a tough time. Usually the after lunch time is really difficult to get through. They might be sleepy. So pay attention to things like that. If you notice that at a certain time of day, there's always a problem. There's always a disagreement. Pay attention to that. You have to be a little bit of Sherlock Holmes when you homeschool.
Yeah, we said it before. You're a detective. So, and not just notice it. I mean, what is going on during that time? And it's really important that we not be too rigid. Some parents they just let their kids do whatever they want, and the other ones are just a little bit too open. Children, especially younger ones, do need structure, and it's important that you have a consistent structure, because not having a consistent structure is a good way for them to get frustrated, because they don't really know what they're supposed to be doing at that certain time. So that's really important. Okay, and number 3 is the time of year. Believe it or not, yes, the time of year has an impact on your child's mood for various reasons.
Well, I think probably everybody's heard of how moods change in different seasons. If it's cloudy and rainy as opposed to if it's a beautiful day outside. But even more than that, you should be aware of your family's seasons. And if you've had traumatic events at a certain time of the year, you should pay attention to see if some of these difficulties become especially pronounced at that time of year. If a favorite grandparent passed away in a certain season, often children, they internalize that and they cannot even articulate it. They don't realize it themselves.
You ask them why you cry, I don't know.
Yes. As an expat family, if your child had to leave behind beloved friends and family members, and your anniversary time of your move comes up and you notice all at once there's this undercurrent of turmoil and dissatisfaction, it could be related to that. You really need to pay attention to it and figure it out. Children on the whole are not by nature negative and critical of things and pessimistic, and there are probably other things going on either in the home or related to the family history even that you should be aware of. And you can have extra grace if you know that this time of year is a struggle for your child, because it is when a traumatic event happened. That's right. Yeah. If you know that that is a part of what's happening, you can give some extra grace. You can also address it and help the child name their feelings and deal with them in a constructive way. You have to think, if you don't know why you're upset, all of us have had times where people said, "Why are you so upset?" And you say, "I don't know why." Well, children magnify that by 10. They don't have the vocabulary, they don't think about things in chronological order a lot of times, and they don't even realize why they're upset. They just know they are. And as parents, we can help them own those feelings and explore them in a healthy way and come to peace and even healing.
So what would you do, for example, if the child is upset because maybe that was the day of their best friend's birthday and their best friend now lives on the other side of the world? How would you deal with that?
Well, it might be appropriate, number one, if they can have a Zoom call with their friends so they can see each other. But you can even do things like release a balloon for your friend. You could have your friends, and this for friends or even family members, fix their favorite meal to remember them and talk about your favorite memories of them, good times that you shared. You can, if you know that this is coming up, you might be able to contact the friend and their family ahead of time and get them to, video a message. Yeah, or your child, if it's the friend's birthday, let them work on a video message to their friend and surprise them with it in their email or, on their messenger, that they have this video from their friend halfway around the world. Those are things that can make a child feel not so separated and distanced and like they're cut out of somebody's life.
Exactly. Okay, next is going to be number 5, and that is scheduling. That is really important. Schedules have an impact more than you think, even on adults. For example, we all know that in the industry there's more accidents on the night shift than there are during the day shift. Well, children are the same way. Certain things, for some reason, people like to get certain things out of the way and get it done. Other people want to do the fun things first to get them motivated. It just depends on what works for your child, and that is the beauty of homeschool, because you have that flexibility. If your child does not want to do math in the morning but wants to do it in the evening, you can do that. Whereas in public school, they're not going to be able to. But scheduling is a big deal, and it could actually help resolve a lot more problems than you think.
Yes, and I have a real life story with that, with a second grader that every morning I had English scheduled first, language arts, and then math. And I had a second grader that was, when one of my youngest was in second grade, every day was traumatic at the beginning of the day. And finally, one day, I just said, what would make this better? I noticed we have this problem every day. And she said, I want to do math first. What an easy fix that was.
Hello. I want to say that sometimes it's not always that simple. Sometimes they'll say, oh, I like to do that. Yeah. But then you make a change and the problem still persists.
Right. And, sometimes kids don't like a certain subject because it's difficult for them. And they're never going to like it. It doesn't matter what time you have it. And generally, I like to put those harder subjects that they don't like at the first of the day for two reasons. One, you get them over with. But secondly, you can schedule things they love later in the day for something to look forward to. And oh look, we have these 25 math problems to do, but after that, right after lunch, we're going to have an art time, and today we have clay or paint or their favorite thing to do. It can help them get through this to get to that. And so you just have to be astute and aware.
One thing that is not a solution is to say, oh, we don't have to do this.
Yeah,
No.
No. You're teaching the exact wrong thing. That when something is difficult, we give up and quit. We get mad, we throw our pencil, we take our marbles and go home. That's just the wrong thing. And that it's particularly damaging to your child because the things they're learning, particularly in elementary school, but really all the way through, are things they need to succeed in life. They need those thinking skills. It's not that they may need to, know the intricacies of geometry later, but they need that logical process of thinking, eliminating wrong possibilities from the beginning, noticing details, the exercise of the brain where you have to memorize things like formulas and look for things like if there is a right angle in a figure and how that changes and impacts the rest of the formula. These things are important skills, and it is not good ever just to say, okay, it's hard, we won't do it.
And if you start doing that, you're really going to open yourself up to manipulation as well. Yeah. And I'm not saying you should see your child as an adversary, but kids can be manipulative. Yeah. We know that. So if you start just saying, oh, okay, we don't have to do that, well, then the next thing.
That's right.
And that's not a service to your child.
No.
Okay, so next is going to be calendar issues. There's seasons of work. I mean, think about it, even as an adult. As an adult, you have your New Year's resolution. Oh, in January, I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to have abs and everything. And gyms know this. So that's why they've got all their staff up in January. And in February, and usually by March, it's like back to normal. And so it's the same with your child. I mean, like usually like back to school, okay, gung-ho, I'm going to get good grades and everything. And then as it goes on, and like May comes, and like it's kind of like dragging a dog that doesn't want to walk, and so that's something you're going to need to be prepared for.
Yes. There are times when our mindset is just that it's work time and to jump in with both feet. The beginning of the school year is one of those times. You've bought new supplies,
new clothes,
you've redecorated your room and got all this new curriculum, and everything is going, they're going for it. Then certainly by the holidays, if you're, have a Thanksgiving type holiday or something, and then certainly by Christmas, everything is focused on something else. And so at the beginning of the year, when everybody's ready to work hard and work solidly every day. Don't
give yourself
take
some
time
slack.
off. Yeah, don't
Give
take
yourself
time off
that
if
slack,
you
so
don't
then
need
when
it.
they do slack, you have
That's
that
right.
extra slack.
Yeah,
You've got the
something to
extra
spare.
space. Yeah. So then
Yeah.
that way you're not, because I mean that is going to be a battle, because if you're already behind
Yes.
and then they're getting tired, and so
Yes.
I mean that's when you're going to have to, if you don't have that, you're going to have to start cracking
Yeah.
out the whip, and
Yeah.
it could just lead to all kinds of problems. Whereas if you give yourself that breathing room,
Yes.
so when they do need to slow down, you
You've
can
got
do
some
that.
space.
Exactly.
Another thing to do, because you know it's going to happen, and to be forewarned is to be forearmed. You know that at Christmas time your child is going to switch their brain onto that. Maybe you can incorporate holiday activities in with your schoolwork. So maybe you ask them for English, for whatever they're writing, to write new lyrics to their favorite Christmas songs. And they're learning meter and rhyme, and expressing themselves with different words other than the ones they usually use. You can use it for math, that I have this box, I have to wrap the box, how much paper do I need, measure the box, come up with the dimensions, and then to find the surface area.
Have a wrapping contest.
Yeah. So you can do all kinds of things to, you can make worksheets that incorporate Christmas decorations, and there's all kinds of ways to incorporate some of your work into the holiday that's happening. Then make sure you schedule some time off at the holidays. I'm a firm believer in don't just keep going. Kids get tired and they want a break.
Amen.
They need a break.
Adults need breaks.
Yeah, when you're on break, be on break. Don't say, oh, let's just do 2 hours of schoolwork, and then your child will not say, oh, we only had to do a couple hours and then we were off. Your child's going to say, we didn't get a break.
Exactly.
That's what they're going to say. So take a break, but after the holidays, it's another time when everybody is thinking it's time to get going again, and you've got a window of another 3.5 to 4 months up through April. If you're used to getting out of school in May, your child is going to start to wind down the last part of April and then through May, and it's the same thing. Work hard and work smart during those seasons of where everybody's really focused on getting work done.
Exactly. And the next one is it can be a little bit triggering to people, but it is something that it needs to be addressed, but in the right way. And that is addressing possible learning disabilities. The reason this one kind of concerns me is, especially with boys, they're just so quick to say, boom, ADHD, let's medicate them. And there is a case with ADHD. People have it, and Adderall and these medications are like a lifesaver for them. But just because, for example, maybe your boy needs to move around, or your girl needs to move, that doesn't mean that they have ADHD and they want to medicate them. And that's actually one of the reasons why I think a lot of parents are wanting to pull their kid out of public school, because they're just so quick to medicate them, because to make them easier to control. And so, but learning disabilities are real. Dyslexia is very real. And so a lot of times, if you're just getting angry and frustrated with them, they may just be acting out because they want you to leave them alone, because they can't do the work. And could be because of a disability. And it's important to and I know that's hard for a parent to accept, that their child maybe has a learning disability. But the sooner you acknowledge it and deal with it, the better it's going to be for you and your entire family, so you can make sure your child still has the best chance of becoming an adult who's going to be successful.
You're going to feel a lot better when your child begins to thrive and enjoy school again, and enjoy learning and exploring and coming across new information again. The first thing I would look at, especially if I'm saying, oh, my child just can't sit still, rather than jump on the ADHD label, I would address issues of sleep, diet, how much sugar are they eating, are your meals balanced, are you eating at regular times, are they getting a snack halfway through?
Are they watching a lot of TV?
That's right. Look at other causes other than just that they need to be medicated. And if you think that your child has a learning disability like dyslexia, there are many online sites that can help you do home tests that will at least corroborate what you're thinking or tell you no. But then, you need to address that. Never say, well, this is too hard, so we'll just let it go. Your child is miserable, and they're not thinking, oh, I have a learning disability. They're thinking, I'm dumb.
I hate this.
Yeah, I hate this. I'm dumb.
And please don't tell when people. I don't know why, and we all do it. But when we want to motivate, we always try to tell people, well, "You're the only one. It's not your brother doesn't have this problem. Your sister could do this." Like that is the worst thing you can say, even to an adult.
Yeah.
You don't want to motivate. That is not a motivation, because then you're just making that person feel isolated and angry and resentful, like they're weird. It doesn't matter if they're the only one doing it. What matters that is how they feel, and that is what's going on with them. And it doesn't make them wrong because they feel a certain way or having something where other people don't. We're all individuals for a reason.
Probably a child with learning disabilities, at least in my experience, they know that they're different. Mm-hmm. They know that they don't get things that their brothers or sisters have picked up easily. They're thinking that they're the smart one and I'm not the smart one. That's the beauty of homeschooling, is you never have to introduce that language that you're not smart, you're labeled, you're different. It doesn't ever have to be an issue. And that's one thing I love about homeschooling, is the ability to encourage and nurture a child and not label them as disabled. And so you do need to address it. Particularly on behavioral issues, that's the last place I would go, to the medication wagon. The first place I would go is look at your in-home, even the lighting. Some of the fluorescent lighting is very hard on the eyes. And can affect a child, if they're having difficulty looking at their books, if everything's so bright, and especially if they maybe have a light sensitivity. Certainly the dietary issues, movement issues, kids need to move, and they're not like adults. We always joke about, when I was little, they always had to fight me to take a nap. Now all I want to do is take a nap. Well, your kids don't want to take a nap. They want to move. They want to run and play and explore and use their muscles, and they need to do that. And so you can build that into your day.
And another thing I want to say is just anecdotally, but every family I've taught and they did not have a TV, there's very few behavioral problems with their child. I personally feel there has been data that shows that television has a very adverse effect on a child's developing brain, because the brain is not developed fully until probably about 21. So in every family I know that doesn't have a TV, for some reason, their kids do very well in school. And so that would be the first thing I would do, is start limiting the television time or the screen time.
Right.
And then the keto diet, which is no carbs. This diet was originally designed to treat kids with cognitive problems like epilepsy and things like that. And so there's been evidence that kids on keto have had better issues with concentration. So I would, as Cindy said, medication, I'm not against it, but it's the last step. It's not the first step, because you don't want to start pumping drugs inside your child unless it's absolutely necessary. All right, so next is, we kind of already covered that, tackle harder subjects first. One thing I think it would be worthwhile is short spurts of intensity followed by a break.
Yeah. If your child knows that the thing that they hate, whether it's memorizing their times tables, multiplication facts, or learning how to conjugate verbs, or if they know that there's a timer set and that you're going to work hard on that for 7 or 8 minutes, or depending on the age of the child, it might be shorter or longer. If they know you're really going to hit it hard and drill those facts, or work with that material, or work with that worksheet for that long, but when the timer goes off, you take a little break, stand up and stretch, maybe go get refill your water bottle, maybe listen to a song together in the room, or sing a song together. When my girls were little, they liked to sing and dance around the room. Well, you could take a break. One song is 3 minutes or thereabouts, and get up and dance around, and then sit back and tackle it again, for another period of time. But if the child knows it's not going to be forever, they know that timer is going to go off and they get a break, they're going to be able to focus better.
So, all right, and another one I really, really love is set goals together with rewards. And the key word in this is together, because it teaches them a little bit of responsibility. Like, hey, this is not me telling you. We agreed this are going to be the goals. And then the rewards, you let them choose the rewards within reason, because then it's something that will actually be a reward to them. And for me, if you had told me, if you do this, I'll give you an apple, keep your apple. Whereas but for another child, ooh, an apple. So that's why it's really important to do this together.
Yeah. One of the things our girls did, they were all very close in age, only 4 years difference between the oldest and the youngest. One of our goals was for them to read books, and so we set a goal of a number of pages. I think it was maybe 8,000 pages in a certain period of time.
And different levels for
different levels. And we made a large banner with the words very large on it that said, "We love to read." And then we divided those letters into a grid with little squares, and for every 10 pages they read, or every 5 pages, I can't remember now which, they got to color in a square. And it was self-motivating. We didn't have to say anymore, do your reading, or, if you have free time, get your book out and read it, or, after dinner, read your book. We didn't have to say that anymore, because they wanted to color those squares in, because they chose a pizza party when all the tiles on the banner were colored in. And they encouraged one another. The younger ones, the books were easier. The books had to be approved so that the older ones couldn't take books that were way below their level.
You don't want your 12-year-old reading Cat in the Hat.
That's right. Yeah. So, but once the book was approved, they could read that, and it was great, because again, everybody was self-motivated to get there, and they celebrated with one another, and they reminded each other, "You need to be reading. Come on, you can get that chapter done, and we'll have another square that you can color in."
Teamwork.
So, yeah, and they chose the prize of the pizza party. So it was something they all wanted to do, not something that we just said, this is the prize.
And starting from what we say from the top, like a loving, compassionate attitude, and trust us, we know that it's easier said than done, like when you're all the time. But it's just, you gotta do it, and you're just gonna get way better results than just, turning to the belt, or, chastising your child when they're not doing what you want them to do.
Always remember you love each other. And as far as reading, another point you might want to try is if you know they want to see a movie and there's a book about it, wait on the movie. Don't let them watch it until they've read the book first. And
I love
they
that.
will find, you'll probably find they'll like the book better, because books have more details in them. They paint better word pictures. The movie has to, edit things out so that they can tell the full story and get the gist of it. So read those books together before you watch the movie together.
Exactly. And then finally, and this is really a good one, schedule something every day that your child loves. It doesn't have to be a pizza party every day. That's not what we're saying. But maybe they're playing with their Legos, or just something that could be educational that your child also really enjoys. Give them something to look forward to.
Yeah, if your child loves art in a particular kind, if it's painting or clay with sculpture, have something every day that they can do that they love. And I would keep it towards the end of the day, so that it's something to look forward to, and then it's not just a letdown then that, oh, now we got to go back to work, you know. Keep it for the end, but something they love. You know, like I said, our girls love to sing and dance around the room, so that was always a good thing to have, you know, during the day. A joke of the day, finding a funny video, like we would have a theme for the day of babies, funny baby videos. And by the end of the day, everybody had to have their video, you know, and then we would vote on the one we thought was the funniest or whatever, animal videos or, you know, things like that, or interesting scientific facts if you want. I mean, you can make things fun and encouraging, but try to have something that your kids really enjoy every day.
And, you know, I kind of like have a little saying, like, you know, positive is best, negative only when necessary. So I remember when I used to work for a company, and they would always have contests for us. You know, they would just do a lot of positive and reinforcement. That doesn't mean, you know, someone was just slacking off and just would not work. Then, yeah, they would have to do the negative. But the positive was always the first step. And so then after you've tried everything with the positive, then you can start going to more of the negative and maybe some antagonism. I mean, vitamin N, which is no, that's an important thing. But we want to start off positive because we want to teach our child that we always want to start off with a positive and try and be as positive as possible. Because when you've seen those angry people, they're always mad about something. You know, Eeyore's their spirit animal, and it's because, you know, a lot of times they had very negative childhoods. Like something happened in their childhood that was very stressful and very negative. Another thing that we didn't cover that is important, and you may not want to talk about, is what's going on in your home. If you and your husband are always fighting, and kids hear it, and if you are just having a negative attitude with yourself, then you can't be surprised if your child is not wanting to work or has problems concentrating. And so if every day is a battle between you and your spouse, then that's going to reflect your child in your schoolwork.
Right. And it may not be conflict in the home. It might be that you're going through a crisis together, a health crisis, or that you've gotten disturbing news from home, that you don't really want to go into details with the children yet, but it's impacting you. But they pick up on your own unrest, on your worry, on your unhappiness, and so try to give a little. Talk about what you can. You don't have to give them all the details. You can say, I know you can tell this is a really stressful time, but we're a family. We're going to get through this. It's going to be okay.
Turn
we're
it
going to
into a
love
lesson.
each other. Yeah.
Some parents, they try to just hide, like when something, and I understand that, but children are smart. I mean, they may not be able to articulate it, but they can see, you know, when you're stressed and just when things aren't like they usually are in your home. And I suggest being honest. They don't need to know everything, but just, you could say, oh, you know, maybe, you know, daddy's not having as much money as he used to, so that's why we're not, or just the level that you feel your child can understand. But I'm a big fan of just being honest with your child about what's going on.
Well, you know, your children are going to face crisis times all through their life. And if they have seen you navigate those times with faith and courage and positive behavior, taking the bull by the horns, you know, and finding a solution and working toward that, they're going to learn those skills. There's an old saying, more learning is caught than taught. And your children are watching you, and they're going to learn how, you know, when you have disagreements with people, how do you handle it? Do you yell? Do you call names? Do you hold a grudge? Do you withdraw into yourself? And the way that you deal with those instances in your life, that's what they're learning to do in theirs too. Exactly. So, you know, healthy people help other people get healthy.
Exactly.
And we want to raise children that are positive, resilient, loving, and that can face adversity with calm and faith and looking for solutions.
Amen. All right, well, I think we've pretty much covered everything. So we just want to say thank you so much for watching. Please make sure you like and subscribe. Thank you very much. Bye.
Bye.